We have possible torture, possible forgery. Let's take a look. Here's a letter by Winter before he's arrested. There's his signature, right? Winter. That's how he really writes. Here's his confession. Thomas Winter. Now, there are two things. It's spelled differently. In those days, you could spell things any way you wanted, but usually you'd stick to one spelling for your own name, right? Usually. And there's his real signature, and here's the confession. So did he sign the confession? I would say no. Again, here's his original signature, real, and here's the confession. Do you think that's the same? Or isn't that some expert graphologist working for Cecil who can make a confession in any language you want? Here's another confession. And this one has, this is this guy, Coke. I guess it's written Cook, but I understand you have to say Coke, the Lord, the Attorney General. And he says, the witnesses to this are Nottingham, Suffolk, and all these other people, Salisbury, except they haven't signed it. Those are not individual signatures. That's all written by Cook. See? So it means that the confessions on which this entire plot is supposedly based are basically false. This is an interesting sidelight. One of the people who was supposedly arrested, a pro-Jesuit by the name of Tresham, was later seen in, by none other than Dudley Carleton, in Brussels, when he was supposed to be in jail. Now this reminds us of the Barbara Olson case, vis-a-vis 9/11, like this phantom was repeatedly seen in different parts of the world. Very important, I would say, is that the gunpowder plot leads to civil war. It is one of the bases, I think, of the English Civil War, in the sense that out of this comes a Puritan opposition, an extreme anti-Catholic, anti-Spanish party that want more and more emphasis on gunpowder, like the neocons, who demand that the entire public life of the U.S. and other countries should be involved with 9/11. And of course, the Stuarts are not willing to go that far. James I never wants to really have a war with Spain. Charles I doesn't really want to have a war with Spain. And therefore, ultimately, they are overthrown. I think this is a key part of it. In other words, if you try to build your state on terrorism and the war on terrorism, you will fail. It is doomed. And that's, of course, what Bush has done. When he talks about Iraq, it's not about Iraq, it's about 9/11. And it's always about 9/11. It's 9/11 24/7, 365 days a year. A very interesting book by a German scholar from Mainz, The True Face of William Shakespeare. Her name is Hildegard Hammerschmidt-Hummel. And what she proves, of course, is that the most distinguished representative of the large Catholic minority, or again, the majority, is Shakespeare. He's a dedicated Catholic activist. Now, notice how they translate the book into English. This is German original of Hammerschmidt-Hummel. The Hidden Existence of William Shakespeare. And down here we read, Dichter und Rebell im katholischen Untergrund. Poet and rebel in the Catholic underground. So he's fighting Cecil from inside the court, and he's also in touch with Jesuits and other people in the European scene. The idea here is that the lost years were spent in Italy, that he got his little Latin and less Greek in a Jesuit school in Belgium. Because his mother was, Mary Arden was a Catholic, all the Ardens are Catholic, the Shakespeare is also Catholic. His daughter was once accused of being a Catholic. He's a Catholic. He's part of the opposition. This is one of the reasons for all these theories that try to say he didn't exist. Because not only is he a commoner, but he's a Catholic. And that, the Whig conception of history can't stand it. And she has proof. She has, this is the sign-in book at the Collegio Inglese in Rome of the Jesuits. And here we have Arturus Stratfordus, Arthur of Stratford. And she says that's a cover name for Shakespeare. I believe it is. Here's another one. This is Stratfordus Castrensis, another year, another visit by Shakespeare. And there's another one where it appears as Gulielmus Stratfordus, William of Stratford. Probably Shakespeare. And these are exactly, as you see the years, right here, 18, 15, 87. Those are your lost years. So she fills up the lost years with that. Before the gunpowder plot, I'm switching now, my source now becomes Claire Asquith, a very good recent book called Shadow Play. Claire Asquith has written the best interpretation of all the Shakespeare plays that I've ever found from this idea that he's a Catholic and he's speaking in code because he's oppressed. Othello is essentially a warning to James I. Don't let that Venetian devil, Robert Cecil, wreck you and your government. Again, Lord Angelo, you've got that one. King Lear. King Lear is essentially having to do with this oath of supremacy. What does King Lear want? He says, you've got to declare that you love me more than anybody else. And what James I does is he says, you've got to sign a paper that says, I'm supreme over the Pope, not the Pope over me. And as Shakespeare warns, you're going to alienate your real supporters, right? Cordelia, Gloucester, Kent, Edgar, and so forth. And you're going to be betrayed by the people who pretend to be loyal to you, Goneril, Regan, Edmund. Okay? Very interesting interpretation. The play immediately after Gunpowder is, of course, Macbeth, full of murder, burning, tragedy, and all the rest. I believe it is not an endorsement of the official version, but it is basically saying to his fellow Catholics, don't you be patsies anymore. And I think probably the Muslim community in Britain and around the world could also learn something from this. Tell your people, don't be patsies. Don't let yourself be led into these things by various kinds of double agents. The other play, very heavily influenced by Gunpowder, is of course Coriolanus, comes right after it. And again here, fire, the burning of Rome, you're preparing a fire. This is the imagery that Shakespeare is using to comment on the Gunpowder plot. The ultimate irony is that James was not going to show up anyway.